Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace. Sorry for the delay. I couldn't figure out why I had no power to my computer. Apparently, I live at home with a family. Someone decided to plug in the blender, and I couldn't understand why there was no power. It said battery was low, and I didn't know that. And then I noticed that it's a different kind of plug in the wall. It isn't the plug of the computer. Anyway, I'm here. I'm here to help you because I do care. I'm a loving father and a husband. I've helped raise 6 children, and I have 42 years of marriage experience with 61 years of life skills. That's how long I've been working. I have lots of life skills I can share with you. Now, I'm here to help you deal with a government entity that I call the Child Protection System, CPS. That is also called the Child Protection Services. But every county will have a different name. Like in Arizona, it's the Department of Children's Services. In Kentucky, it's called the Cabinet. In LA County, California, it's called the Department of Family, Children, and Services. So I just say CPS. And you all know what I'm talking about. It's a government entity that was created in 1962 by a mandate of Congress. It's a government entity directing social services to form a group of social workers to protect our children from the ongoing abuse and neglect they were getting. Also, they're supposed to do what's called family reunification. As you know, social service is supposed to help out with food and shelter and clothing and medical and education for your children and for yourself. There's education classes that they give. Healthcare, transportation, what else? Even give you a job starting off in California at $24 an hour. That's like Panda Express or McDonald's or In-N-Out Burger. That is amazing that kind of salary is, but California is not a cheap place to live. Yes, the whole country is going through a lot, and I realize that. But you're saddled with something that is really traumatic with you, with a government entity that has rogue governments. They're not all good. I've talked to over 2,500 people in the last 22 months. That's over a year and a half, almost 2 years. And every one of them had the same thing that I had, a rogue CPS entity. A CPS was so bad that they take away your parental rights, they abuse your children in foster care, they traffic your children, they alienate your children, they retaliate against you as parents. They do not like parents, and they certainly have gone overboard, especially in the area of medical trafficking. Medical traffic is on the rise, and you got to be careful when you're dealing with CPS. They're not your friend. They will try to be your friend, but they really are interested in only making money off you. I'm not saying all CPS is bad. I'd say right now it's a 50-50 shot you're going to find a good CPS agency. Reason why I'm coming up with that, statistics have shown of the 4,200,000 reports of child abuse by mandated reporters. These are the professional reporters, your school teachers, your doctors, nurses, police, fire, people that work, your caregivers with children. Over half of the reports made were unfounded. And these are professional people that do it part of their job. And I'm so glad to see Mrs. Cook, Dorothy Cook, who has another Facebook account called Calix M. Cook. I'm glad you're here, and I've missed you the last couple days. And she does a help by emphasizing what I said so you all can see it. Now, I have several banners I'll put up. One right there, you can read it. That's if you want to text me a message. Now, I already know Cook, Dorothy Cook, because she's been on my show forever. She's a wonderful mom from North Carolina. And she's very sweet and helpful to all of you out there. She will help you. Her and Christina Reynosa are two good people to know here. I haven't seen Christina Reynosa in a while, but I know that she's around. Anyway, please text me a message in that format that I've displayed on the screen. When I say country, I'm talking to people outside the United States. I have 22 countries besides the United States. With the United States, it makes 23 countries. But I have Bangladesh and Indonesia. I have India. In the Middle East, I have Saudi Arabia and Libya. Then over the continent of Africa, I have Liberia. And then I have Sudan, and then the Republic of Congo, Rwanda, Mozambique, and then the provinces of South Africa. Then up to Europe, I have the United Kingdom, England, Scotland, and Wales. And then I've had Denmark and Sweden call in or text in. Across the pond in North America, I've had Canada and its provinces, the United States and all 50 states, including a place that's not a state called Washington, D.C., District of Columbia. It's where a federal government is housed. They do not have the same rights as states. They're not a state. Anyway, they had problems too in CPS. Then south of the border, I have Mexico. Then further south in South America, north of Brazil on the east coast is Grenada. Then across the South Pacific, I have New Zealand. And then the land down under, Australia and its states. So there's a well range of people. One thing they all have in common, including myself, is they ran into a rogue CPS entity that has taken their children when they're not in danger. When they're not in danger. Now, another way you can interact with this podcast is be a guest on my live stream. There's the email you write to my show producer, Grace. And you just pick one of my 14 shows. I'm on every day at 10 o'clock in the morning, weekdays. And on the weekends, I'm on at 8 a.m. in the morning. At night, I'm on 7 p.m. every night of the week. That's 14 shows a week. So you tell Grace in your email, I want to be a Bob's Sunday morning show, a Bob's Friday night show, or Bob Wednesday morning show. You just pick night or morning, and you just pick one of the 7 days a week, and she'll get you on. She'll send you a link to a software application I use that's called Facebook. And not app, it's Facebook, I'm sorry, StreamYard. StreamYard is the application I use. And they use YouTube to do their video. There's lots of things that StreamYard can do. And she'll go over the rules, such as no smoking or eating on the show, no profanity, and we not use the names of children or judges or social workers on the show. But that's the second way. A third way is to just call in to 626-698-0990. That's my phone number. That's my phone number. And you can call into that number and talk to me. Got to make sure the phone is working, because the last time someone tried to, I use a program that does the phone on live stream. And if you don't have it turned on right, it sometimes can affect you. So I got to make sure it's turned on. No, I don't see a green button there. Robert, this. That one? Oh, okay. All right. Okay, my phone is on. I checked it out. So you can call me. The other number you see, 888-888-6582, is the law offices of Vincent W. Davis. There's a picture of him in the top right-hand corner. He's also displayed a website that you go to that you can get information about him and books and guides that you can talk to him about. Books and guides. So those are the numbers. Now, when you reach the 888-888-6582, you'll be reaching the office. So tell them that Bob Pace sent you, and the reception will help you. If you speak to Mr. Davis, you can also. I noticed that Carrie Sampson is on. She's from Delaware, Wilmington, Delaware. She has a question, and she just texts me. Thank you for the emoji that you care, Dorothy Cook. That's so sweet. I love emojis. I love emojis. Now, I'm here to help you, but in order for me to help you, you got to ask me the questions. You got to ask me what topics to talk on. A lot of my stuff can be repetitious. There are my 5 rules. Rule 1 is get an attorney. And I'm talking about a real attorney, someone that's trained and licensed in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. 2, do documentation, document everything. Create a journal, and you can make it to your kids if you want to write to them. But a journal will tell you every day the things that are happening. Also, important incident time log you need to do. When there's an incident that involves CPS or the police or maybe the school or someone else, you want to write that down. You want to write that down. Hi, classical mommy. She's asking me, do you know what a 1983 is? I have no idea. That sounds like the year that someone's born. I don't know if I can find anything with 1983 with CPS. Let me see if I can. Let me see what I can. Okay, 1983 is a federal code of the U.S. It's in the 42 U.S. code. It's a civil action for deprivation of rights. It's the property, the rights of citizens. It's your civil rights. Now, the anatomy of the 1983 is classical. Mommy is, let me see what I've come up with. It's actually a case it refers to in 1983. It involves the USC 42 USC. Every person who's under color of any statute, ordinance, regulations, custom, or usage of any state or territory or the District of Columbia, subject or cause to be subject, any citizen of the United States or other person within the jurisdiction thereof to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunity secured by the constitutional rights shall be liable to the party injured in an action at law, a suit in equality, or other proof proceeding for redress, except in such action brought against a judicial officer for act or omission taken in such or officer's judicial capacity. Injunction relief shall not be granted unless a declaration decree was violated or declaration relief was unavailable. For the purposes of section, any act of Congress applicable exclusively to the District of Columbia shall be considered to be the statute of the District of Columbia. The plaintiff must establish the conduct of a person who acted underneath the color of the law, who caused personal liability, and the deprivation of family protected rights. So thank you for bringing that up, classical mommy. It's 42, Dorothy. It's 42 U.S.C. That's the United States Constitution, 42 USC, United States Constitution. So in the Constitution, look up 42. You look up 42. USC. U.S.C. Not FC. I have no idea what the FC is, but that's okay. That's okay, Dorothy Cook. That's okay. Thank you for bringing it to my attention, Classical Mommy. Classical Mommy is from Georgia. She's a sweet mother that has come into this room and part of my family. I'm glad you brought that up. We have to know our constitutional rights. We have to know our civil rights. If we don't know them, we can't fight CPS. CPS is a monster. Now, I'm sorry they call them a monster, but it seems like over 2,500 people, including myself, think they are. Today is Wednesday, August 6th of 2025. Well, it's so good to have you here. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. And we can talk more if you want to talk about the 1983 Act. Let's see what else we can find about it. It further says municipalities and municipal officials sued in official capacity are suitable persons under that act, the Humphrey, whatever that was, 1983, only when the violation of the plaintiff's federal protection right can be attributed to the enforcement of a municipal policy, practice, or decision of a policymaker. No respondent superior liability exists. There's a case in the county, LA County, Los Angeles County versus Humphrey in 2010 that challenged the policies and practices typically were challenged. Training, the supervision or discipline, the higher the failure to adopt policies necessary to prevent constitution violations. There are the supervisors who are named individual must be personally involved in alleged misconduct. Supervisor police officers participate in the infliction of excessive force in the case of Chandrente versus Bachman. No respondent superior liability cannot be named due to their position as a supervisor. The Eighth Amendment deliberate indifferences to medical care. Subject component that defendant knew of and disregard the risk to the health and safety does not state an Eighth Amendment claim. The 14th Amendment alleges racial or gender-based discrimination will have a higher scrutiny over only if the plaintiff established intentional discrimination. The 13th Amendment is called the due process. The plaintiff must show the official intentionally caused as the deprivation of life, liberty, or pursuit. Negligence will not suffice. A complaint must have jurisdictional grounds, short, plain statements of facts, and a demand for relief. Anyway, I don't know if this is what you guys wanted to talk about. Hello, Cruella. Good morning, Cruella from Oxnard, California, who has a case in Ventura County involving her two boys that her stepfather will not give back to her. She's also going through eviction in Oxnard, California, and a commissioner somehow sided with her stepbrother that she needs to leave the home that her mother owned, and she was a caregiver for her mother. Her brother further threw away her belongings on two separate occasions. And she is really being tortured by the family that she still tries to love. Okay, Kathleen Cook has a question. What is the federal violation? And do that apply to social workers, supervisors? Yes, it does. And a federal violation is applicable if it involves the defendant, which is you guys, your constitutional rights or your civil rights violated. I got proof. I got a solid 42 USC 19. Okay. Corilla says that she has proof, and that's good to hear, Corilla. Yes, Corilla in California. Anyway, good morning, and it's a beautiful day outside. I'm broadcasting south of Los Angeles, a place called Surf City, USA, 3 blocks from the ocean. Our temperature right now, boy, where's our temperature? Well, I did see our temperature, but I don't see it right now. It's 73 degrees. We'll have a high of 75 at about 2 o'clock, which is beautiful beach weather. Now, the surf is up in Hawaii. There's big waves coming, so you got to be careful. Not a good day for scuba diving or snorkeling, or even with a paddle boards. Now, Hawaii is seeing south-facing beaches with powerful waves, so there's a high surf advisory, and that is a lot tribute to the seismic issues that we had going across the Pacific with tsunami warnings for the massive earthquake. Anyway, I was given some ideas. Our world all the time is struggling. Who is the complex file? Anyway, hopefully someone will bring some other things to talk about. I was talking about my rules earlier, and I mentioned about documentation. I said something about a journal, and then I talked about something called creating a very important document that I wish I had done. It's called the incident time log. There are incidents that happen to you all day. You have to weed out the major incidents from things you can put in your journal. Like you have a meeting with a social worker that went bad. So you put down the location, or if it was on the phone, you put the phone number, you put the date and time, and you put the people that are involved. That goes on the first line. On the second line, you do a summary of the incident. And then the third line is for you to put the outcome of the incident. It's a summary of the outcome. Again, it's a one sentence. So 3 lines for each incident. So when you reach 6 months, you can go back and look at your incident time log. That is a real important documentation. So do that journal. It'll help you feel better. You can address it to your children. You can say, "Dear my children, I know that you're separated from me right now. And I'm just telling you because you'll read this later. when you do get a chance to read it. So between the journal and the time log, then there's other things you can put in your documents. It's important that you have tabs, that you organize all your documents. You can have your testing results of your drug testing. You can have the completion certificates of your parenting classes. You can have the completion certificates of your program classes like domestic violence. You put all your court documents and you can separate them to actions taken by the judge, actions taken by the social worker. You can put your case plan. There's got to be a case plan that tells what they're going to do. Is it family reunification or whatnot? So the documents is my number 2 thing. And I wasn't really going to talk that much because I've talked so many times, but I think it's important because I didn't have it and I wish I did. Of course, rule number 3 is not to talk to social workers, not to let them in your home, not to talk to police, and not let them in your home. And you say, wait a minute, I thought I'm supposed to. No. Just think of your home as your castle and your door is your drawbridge. Once the drawbridge is up, your castle's closed. If you don't know the person knocking at your door, don't let them in. Don't talk to them. There's only 3 ways that someone can talk to you. 1, you give them permission, or someone in the household does, and you definitely don't want that to happen. 2, there's ongoing danger going on, meaning that you're beating up a child or a child is beating up another child, or there's fighting going on, there's yelling, screaming, they will break in. And 3 is a court order, such as a warrant, that specifically tells you what they want to do. If those 3 things don't exist, and you won't know if it's quiet, and you won't, if you open the door, you won't see the warrant. So I'm telling you, you got to keep your house quiet. Because like most of us, we let our people into the house, which is wrong. We let people into our house. Now, also in that rule number 3 is don't give them your child. What you can very do, if you happen to talk to them outside your home, be courteous, say hi, and you can give them your name. But you need to ask them a very important question at the start of all this. Is this a legal matter? If it's a legal matter, your Constitution says that you can be represented by an attorney at all facets of legal matters. So if the social worker or the police identify as a legal matter, you say, okay, I understand that, but I need my attorney present. Please give you your name and number, and I'll get back to you when we can meet. And then what you do, you need to find an attorney so you can meet with them. You don't want to ignore them because they'll hound you. But, you don't have to let them in the home. You don't have to, you just say, if it's a legal matter, I need my attorney present before I say anything more. You're being respectful to them. And you're exhibiting your constitutional rights. Your constitutional rights. You need to know your constitutional rights. You need to know the 14th Amendment. You need to know the First Amendment. You need to know your civil rights. All you do is Google it. Civil rights, constitutional rights. They'll show it all. You have to be educated. Supposedly, everybody in the United States, when they go through school, in their senior year, will take a class in U.S. government, and if you're in California, California government. Now, it was so surprising. I don't know if this is true or not. My son was going to a private school. He was taking an advanced placement in a college class in high school called U.S. government. But apparently that class did not teach anything about California government. So when he went to his school, his college, and was petitioned to have college credits count, they said he still had to take a class in California government because that part was missing. And I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. Anyway, if you take the in class in your senior year, make sure you get U.S. government and your state government, whatever state you're in. I have taken U.S. government. I've also taken, well, I took U.S. government. I also taken California government, and I've taken Virginia government because I had two high schools, and I don't know why, but I somehow got the class. I don't know if when I went to college I had to take it or not. I think I did because they said the same thing. They don't accept in California other states' government or governments. See, that's the sad thing that our immigrants today don't have to do that. You see, when you became a citizen of the United States, you had to take U.S. history, U.S. government, and state government. That was required to be a U.S. citizen. But now, when the former president decided to open his borders and make it a come in here free all, the new president has a monumental task of eliminating millions of people, millions and millions of people that have come across the United States that are really hurting our society. They tax the services that social service puts out. They'd love to come here with open borders. They get that job at McDonald's at $22 an hour. They get food stamps. They get shelter. They get clothing for their children. They get free educational. They get free health care and transportation. That is why the people come to the United States, is we're so caring and giving. But that's being squashed, and people don't like that. They think we're being too hard. But the problem with these people came the drugs. The drug lords decided to bring in children, hiding behind them. That's why people have a hard understanding about the Israelites and the Palestinians or the Gaza people, why the Israelites are fighting Gaza. A lot of people don't understand. And what's happened is the people are caught up with a rebel government that refuses to give up. They hide behind people. They're the ones that slaughtered the people. They're responsible for all the death of the people and children that have no food. They're responsible for no food. They take the food that people give and they do not feed their country people. The only way the Israelites are going to win is that if they squash the rebel government completely, wipe them off. This has been going on for thousands of years. And Israel cannot take it anymore. Their Pearl Harbor was October 7th. And all those people were brutally raped and murdered and chopped up and microwaved. And you can imagine what that did to people. But people forget the brutality of what the Gaza people did to the Israel people many months ago or years ago in October 7th. So it goes on today, and it is horrible to see innocent men and women, children. But the rebels are hiding behind them. The guys with the masks on, the green tie-dyes, the rebel people, they say they don't want to give up. So Israel has no choice but to annihilate the country. But people don't understand that. They don't understand Putin doing what he does with Ukraine. Now, Ukraine used to be part of the old Soviet Union. And Crimea used to be, Ukraine and Crimea used to be what was called Old Russia. And used to be involved in the Turks. And we need to understand. And that leader of them and the Ukrainian people are wonderful people. They're fighting to the death to the end. And politics seem to play a heavy role. One minute they want to give something, next minute they want to take away. And Putin is enjoying that. You have to understand who Putin is. He's an ex KGB agent for the Soviet Union. He wants the Soviet Union again. He's not a sane person. You can't rationalize with him. I think our president has finally realized that Putin is not rational. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He'd rather see his own people die than lose Ukraine. He wants more land. After Ukraine, it's going to be Poland, and all the NATO countries will fall. And that's why NATO's got strong. One thing our president did good is to make NATO do its fair share. That was a good thing. And I think the things that our president's trying to do are good. But he's very frustrated with the way things are. And it's a hard thing to talk. And I don't really want to talk anymore about politics because it's ongoing. We have communist China and communist Korea that, it goes on and on. You think about the children in our countries, our states, are going through so much of anguish. Yesterday, there was a church which was housing teenagers, 15, 16, 17. They were part of the social services, CPS group. And that was in New York. And they were called Assembly of God. They were trying to masquerade. But they're in terrible conditions. You don't put 15-year-old girls and boys together in the same bedroom. I'm sorry. Kids at 15 are going through changes in their sexuality. Sex is on the mind of girls and boys. It starts about 12 when they first start discovering puberty. And that's another life skill that I can talk about is the start of puberty and how it changes. When a woman gets this menstrual cycle, life changes. And that can happen as early as 12. When people start to grow hairs, not only in their private, but in their facial hairs, their voices change. They have sexual urges. God created man to be on an urge all the time. It's sometimes very difficult to control the urge because God wanted man to go out and populate the earth. So he's all the time wanting to make babies and have babies. But it's hard responsibility to take care of children. But anyway, I really am feeling so sorry for all those individuals out there that were supposedly at the responsible of the child protection system in New York. But it happens all the time. You just look at the news every day. Children are being slaughtered. The sad part is the rogue CPS are taking the good kids and the good parents and making life miserable. And that's you guys. That's my family. You guys come in here and you don't understand. Krilla says, well, why are they not helping with my 2 babies? Cassandra from Otsego, New York, has a 14-year-old boy that the child protection system wants to keep drugged up all the time. It's horrible results, there are too many child protection systems that are rogue, that are bad. I don't care what state you're in, what country you're in. They're out there. They are really out there. Just look at the clock. It's 11:06. We had a late start of my power outage on my computer, so I'm still here as long as people have questions and want to hear and ask. Our running time is 46 minutes, which means I have about 14 minutes left. And I do want to help you. I do want to help you. I agree. What kind of CPS people that'd be so dumb to think a church is the correct way to house teenagers? Hmm. Well, I have not found out what was happening, but I can imagine that some are pregnant. Sad part was parents, adults, I shouldn't say parents, but adult CPS workers slept with the kids. That's not how you do a group home. A church is a sacred place, but it's not a facility that has appropriate separate bedrooms and privacy. A girl of 15 or 16 would like privacy. She doesn't want to dress in front of 15-year-old boys. I don't know. It's just my parenting skills are probably old fashioned. I believe when a woman, reaches puberty, they should be given a lot more privacy. They have a lot of mood swings. Being in your period will cause a lot of mood swings. And adolescents need to learn. Guys need to respect a girl when she says no, but the guys don't. That's the other sad part. Rape happens all the time, and incest among children. But a lot has to do with the parenting skills and the parents. But CPS seems to lump all the parents. They think once they hear a complaint, that parent is bad. They don't want to hear the parents. They don't want to hear parents. I mean, the horrific stories of how the cult religious groups, the Mormons, and I hate to be labeling the Mormons, but when you have an older man sleep with 14-year-old girls or marry a 14-year-old girls, that's wrong. I know in cultures like Tahiti, girls and boys experiment with sex at early ages. I know around the world, but those are primitive cultures. Civilized man should be respected. A woman's honor. Where was chivalry? In the Middle Ages, we had chivalry where a woman's honor was respected. Now, I know that people are going to be sexual no matter what you do. But what you do is you explain the birds and the bees. You explain the facts of life. I told my kids when we reached there so much detail in a scientific fashion, they felt bored. See, I'm a marine biologist, a scientist. I have extensive education, also in civil engineering. I'm a civil engineer too, and a teacher. But when my kids started asking about sex, I bored them. I told it in a very not sexy way. It kind of like they now knew everything and they said, oh, that's all there is? They'll find out in time. I said, you got to wait to that special moment in time when you share something. You got to keep that. That's yours to keep and should be only given to a person you truly love, that you want to have your love and heart with that person. That results in a marriage. Now, I know it's hard because the way the sex is today, a lot of people live together, not married. And sexual is a natural form of interaction between a man and a woman. And I don't want to be talking about men and women and women. Because this is how God created man. He created man, and from man he created woman. And those two are connected by special parts. That's why it's men and women. Anyway, there's a lot of life skills. Well, that's right. You, as an adult, should have gone through some classes about how to deal with young children. They're going to ask you questions. They're going to ask you questions. And you got to be able to answer them. They learn from their friends, but they learn the hard way. They learn the wrong way. Friends are good. Somehow, I had a life skill in junior high about sex education. They don't do it anymore. I don't know. I mean, my other kids I've gone through lately, and they don't talk about sex. But they showed movies, they talked about it, and I had exposure about it. And I was late in life of enjoying making love. And to this day, I wish I could do my whole life over again. There's lots of things I would have done differently. One thing I wish I'd known about CPS early on. But children look to parents with authority. They look to adults with authority. But then they're abusing. There's adults that abuse it. Like the trainer that abuses gymnasts, where he molested so many women. It's terrible. It's like, I don't know why they talk about Epstein. He's dead. He's a pedophile. His girlfriend, who was part of it, did nothing. She was sentenced. And now they want to talk about our president. They've been bad mouthing our president before he's president. He's been impeached 2 times. He's been charged with over 100 crimes. And they still want to nail him. Here's a guy that doesn't need money from the government. He doesn't take a salary as president. He has influence of people worldwide. He likes sports. He plays golf. That's true, Aaron. And welcome, Aaron from Tennessee. I hope you got a good night's sleep. You're scrubbing floors last night. If I was there, Aaron, I would have scrubbed your floors. No, Trump can't be controlled by any politician, not even the richest man on earth, Elon Musk, cannot control Donald Trump. Putin can't control him. He's his own man, and he has great ideas. So what he's doing is his campaign promises. He says he's going to send back over the millions and millions of people that undocumented are coming in here and not even, I mean, some one of these people have been here for 30 years, made no effort to get citizenship. I'm sorry, they go. Yes, they've had children here. Yes, they have roots here. Yes, they've contributed jobs. But you can't separate. The law very clearly states you have to be a U.S. citizen here, born of U.S. citizens. Just coming across the border and having children doesn't give those children U.S. citizenship. It has for a long time, but it's not. It's being corrected. If you want to be a U.S. citizen, you have to be born of U.S. parents. In the United States or its territories. Like Guam and Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. Well, Putin, Putin is one of the most evil persons on earth. He's just as bad as Stalin. Remember, he's an ex-KGB of high rank. Now, the KBG has been the worst any around, war worse than those SS stormtroopers in Nazi Germany. They're evil. They're evil. There's been evil people since the dawn of time. Just look at the Bible about the evil people. But we got to really believe in God. We got to put the emphasis in God. I've tried to put together God on this live stream. I've tried to take the Polar Bear Express, which is a book about a young boy who gets on a train to go see Santa Claus. And he believes in Santa Claus. Now, I call this Polar Express train is that every one of us is on a train, and we need to believe in God. And the train has two rails it rides on. The left rail is, I call, the circle of life. You can have a big circle or a small circle. But in The Lion King, where I got the circle of life from, it talks about life. And that's what we're trying to do every day. The right rail is called the Stairway to Heaven. There's a song by Led Zeppelin, but I'm not referencing that. I'm talking about the true Stairway to Heaven. We all want to go to heaven, but to get there, you have to repent your sins and do good deeds. And the railroad ties represent the deeds. They're connected to both rails. So in your circle life, on that Polar Bear Express, you're going to make good deeds, and you're going to try to do good deeds, and you're going to help. And you'll get there because God is real. I just found out a couple months ago that God and Jesus are the same. Now, there are many religions, and I'm not here to say one religion is better than the next. But the Jews believe in God. The Muslims believe in God, but their God is different. The Lakota Sioux Indians believe in God, the Great Spirit, but it's different. Is it really? Is Buddha different? Is Shinto or Hindu different? They all believe in a creator. It's just that different people have different ways to envision it. I think God is a very wise man. Long gray hair and a beard. That's what I picture him. And that's what this Catholic church that I went to has an altar. And at the top is God. There's a picture of him. I've never seen a picture of God before depicted. And then there is, his son Jesus. And Jesus, who was God, was placed in the womb with Mary. And Mary was a woman that brought Jesus alive. And Joseph helped out Mary and helped raise Jesus as a small boy. He walked among the people trying to do good, to make good. So we are on this train, the Polar Bear Express, because we still believe. It isn't about Christmas. Of course, Christmas is about Jesus Christ, the birth of him. But we need to do those good deeds. We need to pray. So when things get bad, Krilla, you got to pray. All of you got to pray and believe in something. And we got to pray that our world will get better. And we will get our children back. It just takes a lot of hard work and understanding and knowledge. Now, I've gone over 1 hour and 5 minutes on my talk time. And it's well past 11 o'clock. And I want to thank you all for listening. And I hope you all have a beautiful day and that you join me again tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's on the West Coast. You guys on the East Coast are 3 hours ahead of me. You guys in England are 8 hours ahead of me. And you guys in Europe and Africa are 9 hours. And the rest of the world is on different time zones. I sometimes think about the Australians as 6 hours behind me the next day. Anyway, I want you all to have a beautiful day, to pray, to fight for your children. Don't give up on your family. I haven't given up on mine. Very shortly, my 2 sons will be moving out of the nest. And just me and my wife are left in the home. One will be 19 and the other one is 25. Well, he's almost 26 and the 19 is almost 20. It's a hard transition, but my life was so torn apart by CPS. It really was. But anyway, don't give up. Keep praying to God and come back here and I'll try to give all the encouragement or help you find things. I'm a loving father and a husband, and I have raised 6 children and 42 years of marriage experience and 61 years of life skills. And I truly care about my family. All of you are my family. I want to thank Aaron from Tennessee, Dorothy Cook from North Carolina, Cruella from California, whose name is actually Felicia. And then I want to thank Classical Mommy from Georgia. Thank you. Thank you all for making this live stream possible. Now there'll be a brief message at the end about my attorney, Vincent W. Davis. Please listen to it. It's a good song. It puts you in good spirits. So this is Bob Pace signing off.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted, and if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last ones left. Put your